Hi there. In this episode of the Prophets of Islam, we're going to be looking at another prophet mentioned by name in the Quran after the one of the previous episodes where we examined Ilyas. Ilyas is one of the 25 prophets mentioned by name in the Quran. Even though our guest, I'm going to introduce him very soon, says that there are hundreds, possibly hundreds of thousands. And there is a weak hadith that says at least you have 124,000 prophets. And the Quran also says that every nation, every community, every country has been given their own prophets. And that Saudi Arabia, well, it wasn't Saudi Arabia at that time, it was Arabia, was the last of all the lands, all the nations to be given their own prophets. And so let me introduce to you our guest once again, Dr. Hussein Musharraf, without wasting much time again.
Hello, we have with us Dr. Musharraf Hussain, who's Chief Executive of the Kadimiya Institute here in Nottingham, to talk with us about prophets. This is the series of beliefs. We're talking about God, angels, books, messengers or prophets, and then the last day and predestination. So Musharraf, help us understand prophets and messengers. Who are they?
So here is Prophet, I said prophet. Here is Dr. Hussein Musharraf in Nottingham, UK. And if you haven't watched the previous episodes, please go down there and watch the episodes in the series, The Prophets of Islam. So I did this introduction just to make sure we know the guest that is talking to us today. So I'm going to skip to the relevant section because I'll be talking about Zakariyya, one of the prophets that are mentioned by name in the Quran. And fortunately, our guest, Dr. Hussein, also mentions Zakariyya. So let me skip to that aspect, and he's going to talk about.
Always been men, really, and that is not to in any form or shape to show that women are less than men at all. This is not,
So the role of the messenger prophet.
So I'm doing this to provide context, and while at the same time trying to avoid copyright flag. So we're doing this for educational purposes. This is a well-read scholar in Nottingham. He heads one of the institutes right there. I'm not sure. I haven't confirmed whether he actually lectures in the University of Nottingham, because as you can see, this is University of Nottingham that posted this thing online. So I don't know whether he lectures there, but at least he is advertised to be heading one of the institutes there, whether in Nottingham University or in Nottingham city itself. We don't know. So the aspect we're going to now is he's going to be explaining to us the prophets, and he will mention Zakariyya. And my question is, what is the meaning of Zakariyya?
To bring the revelation and to set an example, or am I confusing messengers and prophets here?
Okay, well, there is the Nabi and there is the Rasul. And the distinction is very simple, that the Nabi is the prophet who receives the revelation without a book. And the idea is that he would be most likely reinvigorating, presenting and reviving the teachings of a previous prophet. We believe, for example, John the Baptist was one of the Nabis, who revived the teachings of the previous prophets.
Okay, so you've heard it there. You've heard it. He said the Muslims, believe that that the Nabis were those that came to revive the teachings of the prophets. The Nabis are the prophets, and the messengers are the Rasul. So the Nabis, even though they are special, also they came to revive, to reinvigorate the messages of the Rasul. And he said, let me allow him to finish that. I don't want to jump the gun.
Meaning of Moses and, of course, Zakariyya, who was his father. So
please say that again.
The Nabis, who revived the teachings of the previous prophets, meaning of Moses and, of course, Zakariyya, who was his father. So
I would allow him to say that part one more time, because he's making a significant question about Yahya, John the Baptist, and Zakariyya, his father. Please pay attention to what he's going to say. After that, I'll come back to ask the question, the meaning of Zakariyya. So let him do it again. I don't want to be accused of saying anything wrong. And Muslims, please, for the sake of your God, do not come to tell me, oh, you don't know what you are doing. You don't know the meaning of Islam. You don't know Quran. You don't know Hadith. Ho, 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 ha, 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 oh, you are ignorant. Please don't say that. Don't say that. Tell me what exactly I have got wrong, where I have gone wrong. That's what I want. These blanket accusations of, you don't know Islam, you are wrong, you don't have knowledge, you are ignorant, you are an ignoramus. Please stop all that nonsense. Stop it. Just tell us, where exactly have I gone wrong? So once again, let Dr. Hussein explain the difference between Nabi, prophet, and Rasul, messenger. And then he will give example of the two of them. Pay attention.
And the idea is that he would be most likely reinvigorating, presenting and reviving the teachings of a previous prophet. We believe, for example, John the Baptist was one of the Nabis, who...
You heard that. John the Baptist was one of the Nabis. John the Baptist was one of the Nabis. Nabis come to revive, to reinvigorate, to represent the messages of the Rasul. So John the Baptist was one of the Nabis. You got that right. I want that place to sink. Let him continue.
Revived the teachings of the previous prophets, meaning of Moses and, of course, Zakariyya, who was his father. So,
okay, so there you have it. So Nabi Yahya, John the Baptist, according to him, came to reinvigorate the messages of the previous Rasuls, meaning Moses. He gave example of Moses and Zakariyya, his father. And so with that, he means that Zakariyya, the father of Yahya, was a prophet. And Yahya came to reinvigorate the message of his father. Remember that in the way he differentiates prophets from messengers, he said prophets do not have books, physical books, but messengers do have. He said prophets have oral messages. They only come to reinvigorate the message, that is the written message of the previous messengers. And so by that token, since he said Yahya came to reinvigorate the messages of people like Moses, Musa, who was given the Torah, and then he said he also came to reinvigorate the message of his father Zakariyya, meaning that Zakariyya also had a book. So the first question is this: what is the name of the book given to Zakariyya? That's the first question. The second question will be the meaning of Zakariyya, the name itself. So Muslims, I'm asking you, what is the meaning of Zakariyya? Please don't be so idiotic as to come and tell me that Zakariyya is a prophet. By the way, Zakariyya is not even a prophet, so I'm going to explore that a little. So I'll go into the Bible now, and we shall see what the Bible says about this individual called that the Muslims are calling Zakariyya. So we're going to see who that person actually is. So here is Luke chapter 1. Luke chapter 1 in verse 5. This is Luke chapter 1, verse 5. For you to know that it is Luke, you can see that. Luke chapter 1. And you've seen verse 5. So here is Luke chapter 1, verse 5. Let's read it. In the time of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest. Did you see that? So the person they are calling Zakariyya, some Muslims in Nigeria call that name Zakariyya, however you call it. This person that they are calling Zakariyya is actually Zechariah of the Bible. That is Zechariah of the Bible. And so the passage says, in the time of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah. There was a priest named Zechariah. So here is the interesting thing. Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, wasn't even a prophet. He wasn't a prophet. All right? He belonged to the priestly division. He belonged to the priestly division. You've seen it there. And so who exactly could this particular man be referring to when he said Yahya came to reinvigorate the message of Zakariyya, his father? He was mixing two people. There is another Zechariah who wasn't the father of John the Baptist. That is the prophet Zechariah. So I'm going to show you that had a book. He had a book. So here is that. This is Zechariah, the book of Zechariah. It's in the Old Testament. It's not even in the New Testament. This is the book of Zechariah. All right? So this is Zechariah chapter 1. This is verse 1. So let's read it. In the 8th month of the 2nd year of Darius, the word of the Lord came to the prophet. Have you seen this? This is prophet Zechariah, son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo. This is the prophet. The previous one was a priest named Zechariah. This one is a prophet named Zechariah. And yet, the scholar from Nottingham couldn't differentiate the two. By the way, there's no Muslim that can differentiate the two. No single Muslim can differentiate the two. Because they mix a lot of things. Just as they say Miriam, the sister of Aaron and Moses, was also the mother of Jesus Christ. Imagine that. So they mix a lot of things. But I'm going to forgive him. Since he doesn't read the Bible, I'm going to forgive him. I'll forgive him. Did I really show these things on the screen? I think I did. Here is the book of Zechariah. Here is the book of Zechariah, and this is chapter 1, verse 1. And here is the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 5, that talks about Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist. So I was saying, since this man, he doesn't read the books of the Bible, I can forgive him. So let's forgive him. Let's forgive him. That's not much of a problem. The bigger issue is, what is the meaning of Zakariyya? Muslims, what is the meaning of Zakariyya? Nigerian Muslims, Zakariyya. What is the meaning of that name? Now, from the Christian perspective, from the Jewish perspective, I am going to tell you the meaning of Zechariah. You tell me the meaning of Zakariyya. Okay? So let's go. We're going to look at the meaning of Zechariah. So, doing a very simple Google search will tell you, have you seen this screen here? So just go and type, what is the meaning of Zechariah? You can type it in Google. You can type it in Bing. You can type it in any search engine. You can use Hebrew lexicons. You can, just find the meaning. And I'm going to break it down for you. So you see, here is the meaning of Zakariyya. Yahweh remembers. Yahweh remembers. Let me make it very, very clear. When you write Zakariyya, and particularly any name in the Bible that ends with IAH, any name in the Bible that ends with IAH, you see that IAH is actually Yah. Yah. That is what it is. It is the first three letters of Yahweh, just as I explained when dealing with the meaning of Eliah. Elias in the New Testament, because that is using Greek. It is the Elijah of the Old Testament. Eli is my God. That Yah is from Yahweh. And because the Hebrew language doesn't have Jah, it doesn't have the sound J. And so when it is anglicized, English people use the very closest sound in English, and that is J instead of Y. So in Hebrew, you would actually say Jerusalem, but in English, we will say Jerusalem. You say Yehoshua, in English, we say Joshua. And so Elijah or Elijah in Hebrew is Elijah in English. And when it is taken into Greek, it is Elias. It is Elias in the New Testament. And if you look for the meaning of Elijah, it is Yahweh my God, or my God Yahweh, which is Yahweh is my God. Yahweh is my God. So this Yah or Jah is from Yahweh. I give another example of hallelujah. When you read the New Testament and you go to the book of Revelation, you're going to see that in some Bible translations, hallelujah is written with J-A-H. Okay, so they are preserving the letter J, but they are using the sound Y. And in some translations, they actually changed the letter from J to, in English, so that it goes along with the sound Y. So, hallelujah, okay, meaning praise be to Jah, praise be to Yahweh. So Zakariyya means Yahweh remembers. I'm going to give you other names in the Bible that end with ayah. For example, Jeremiah. What is the meaning of Jeremiah? I'm going to do this live search for you to see. So I'll go into this search engine and just do Jeremiah. Okay, and I hit enter. What is the meaning of Jeremiah? Okay, so this is what the search returned. We're looking at Jeremiah. Okay, here is Jeremiah. Let's read what is there. A Hebrew prophet, he foresaw the fall of Assyria, the conquest of his country by blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for the meaning of Jeremiah. Here is it. All right. Can you see this? Can you see this? From the Hebrew name, this, Yirmeyahu. Have you seen that? Meaning Yahweh exalts. Yahweh exalts. Have you seen that? Actually, there are people that call Elias, they call it Eliyahu. Eliyahu. Okay? So, from the roots to exalt, from the roots of meaning to exalt, and this. Therefore, the meaning of Jeremiah is Yahweh exalts. And the meaning of Zechariah is Yahweh remembers. I'll give you one more example, which is Josiah. I have said every time you find Ayah in any of the names of the Bible prophets or Bible people, it is that Yah at the end is talking about Yahweh. So let's search for Josiah. What is the meaning of Josiah? Okay, God supports. Don't mind this one. We're actually going to look at, is it because it's not actually, okay, God supports or Jehovah heals. Have you seen that? Look at this. An in-depth look at the meaning and etymology of the awesome name Josiah will discuss the original, this blah, 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 blah. Okay, and so what is the meaning of the name? Here you find it here. Yahweh has healed, or Yahweh supports. Have you seen that? Yahweh has healed, or Yahweh. So the point I'm making is that this Yah at the end of the names of the Hebrew prophets or Hebrew people refers to the short form of Yahweh. So back to Zakariyya. Muslims, the meaning of Zechariah is Yahweh remembers. What is the meaning of Zakariyya in your own religion? Since it is mentioned in your Quran, what is the meaning of Zakariyya or Zakariyya? What is the meaning? That is the essence of this video. And so we've seen that this man, he actually made the blunder of saying that Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, was a prophet, and he wasn't. And this is a supposed professor, a scholar. He missed that, but I'm going to forgive him as I said, because he doesn't read. He doesn't read the Bible. I can read. Go and look at Muhammad's boom room and understand. I can't read that I said now. So he doesn't read the Bible, just like Muslims don't read the Bible. So I'll forgive him. But how about the meaning of Zakariyya? How about the meaning? So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We're looking at the prophets of Islam. And in this episode, we've examined the meaning of Zechariah from the Christian and Jewish perspective. I'm expecting the Muslims to answer us, tell us the meaning of Zakariyya and how that relates to Allah. How Zakariyya relates to Allah. Thank you, and God bless you.